Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us. Lessons with Ricardo. I'm Ricardo Billazar, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get the practical experience for the career job you're dreaming about. Let's go and get into it. All right, so there's going to be 4 things I covered today. One is going to be finding the software, and I'm going to introduce you to GitHub for that. Second, what is virtualization? Then I'm going to show you how to set it up. And the last thing, the 4th thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you what happens when you get the wrong software and how isolation using virtualization can save your computer. All right, let's go and get into it. First thing I need to do is bring up my web browser. I'm going to show you what GitHub looks like. Let me find it for a moment. Now, why don't you use GitHub? Because GitHub is one of the most well-known platforms for open source software. If you don't know what open source software is, it is not free all the time. It just means that the software's source code, how it's written, is available to any and everyone under special licenses. Now, I'm not going to sign into GitHub, but in fact, let's go and do it this way. Let's go to Google, and I'm going to just look for GitHub here. Okay, first things first, we have to find a job to go after. So I'm thinking, really popular now, prompt engineering. All right, something to do with LLMs, AI, that kind of stuff. And if we're thinking about that, a lot of skills go into that, but ChatGPT comes to mind. Let's see what we find if we put ChatGPT into GitHub. See if we get any results that we actually want to. And wow, look at that. We get the very first one pulls up. Let's take a look at it. Awesome, ChatGPT. Don't know much about it, but hey, we found some software, right? Now, of course, I encourage you to just look through as much as you can, find things that really fit what you're looking for. I do have one in mind that for whatever reason did not come up, so I'm gonna type in GitHub Olama. This is really popular right now. I know it installs pretty quickly, so we'll do this for today. Now we found our software on GitHub. Now we need to figure out how do we do this in a safe manner. All right, so what I call this is safe teching. This is using virtualization to isolate one machine from another. So that second machine being the machine you create in the program you choose. I'm using VirtualBox. I'm also going to show you Docker, and then also the host machine, which is the physical machine that you're typing on. So we're going to create the isolation. And in fact, since I'm talking about it, let me bring up a diagram I have here. Now, this is going to show virtual machines as well as some people call it containers, or people reference as Docker, but it's actually a container. On the left, you see the virtual machines. What sticks out to me on the left side here is a virtual machine has 2 operating systems that you have to plan for, resources to be used for, and so a little more intensive there. And containers, a lot less going on with this stack. And I think this is a better choice for a lot of programs that you may want to run because it's more portable. It's going to run the same way no matter what host machine you put it on. So I always start with containers for the most part when trying new software. In this case though, I want to show you virtual machines. All right, so what I'm choosing to use is actually going to be VirtualBox. This does run on Windows and on Linux distributions, and I believe even Mac, but for Mac, I prefer people use the UTM application. That is a free and open source product as well. Now, let's go get into spinning this up. So as a reminder, this is going to be spin up a virtual machine, and this is going to be a machine in a machine basically. I have my physical host I type on, and this is going to be a machine I create inside of that. Very similar to a container, just as we saw earlier in the stack, different use of resources. Now, I am going to skip the unattended installation. I leave these presets already here, but I could change if I wanted to. You select what's best for your hardware. I have quite a few options to go through, but standards usually work the best, especially when you're just doing something quick and easy. All right, there we go. We're going to hit start, and it should pop right up. This is what we're going to get. Like I said, I'm not going to walk through the entire installation. If you've never installed an operating system before, this is a great way to practice it. But it was pretty easy to follow. Not many complicated parts will show up there. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get back to you, I promise you. All right, so that we're going to not do now because I already installed one of them. Let me pull the one we'll be using today. hit start here. Yes, I did call it trash it. The reason why is because I have a special little surprise at the end of this. Like I said before, what happens if you put malware in the machine? And I'm going to show you that it actually does separate, the virtual machines will separate resources or the infection from your host machine, okay? I'm going to log on here, and we will get back to installing Ollama as we started off. And in fact, because I want to make sure you know what happens when you install a software from GitHub, I'm going to install one other software prior to that. It's called RegShot, and RegShot is just a snapshot of what the registry file and a couple of the components are when it comes to Windows machines. And guess what? That is also on GitHub. So we're going to do quite a few GitHub installations today. Let's go pull up my browser. All right, so we're going to do GitHub, and that's interesting that came up. So GitHub and RegShot. Let's install that one first. Let's go with this. And from here, you can use the Git tool to use to copy from the clone from the URL. I just do a download of the zip file. Works the same way. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. I'm gonna extract all, and that just blipped out of the screen somehow. There it is. And then we extract. And once you do that, I'm just gonna run the ANSI version 64. It should pop right up. And I will start the snapshot so that we can capture what it is before. These windows are not fun to play with sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and scan C drive, hit start, and I'm just going to do the shot. All right, so while that's taking a snapshot of the machine, I am now going to jump into Ollama, and let's install this because we're going to be a prompt engineer and we want to have a local software that we can practice on and control to improve our craft, right? And gain that experience. So we come over here, and Ollama has a very quick installation option for Windows. We're going to download. Mac OS is supported as well. And we're just going to run this exe. Now, of course, I have to wait for the RegShot to actually complete. So let me go ahead and make sure this is finished before we actually execute that. All right, it says it's finished. Let's go ahead and do setup. Run, and I believe a restart is required for this one, but we'll see. All right, so that is done. It gives me a little running status here, and now we can type in what it provides us right here in the prompt. We'll do run llama. Now I have no idea how this is going to respond in this particular virtual machine, but let's go for it. It's going to download. It may take a little bit of time, but we'll get something running. Now, the good thing about Ollama is even if you don't have a GPU, if you're into prompt engineering or LLMs or AI, you've probably heard of having a GPU that can handle it. But to be honest with you, a CPU can really do some of the lifting. It's just going to be a little slower, right? Not as responsive as you would like, probably. All right, while that's doing, I'm going to run the second shot. Because this one is really not going to modify too much more stuff. It's just saving some of the model locally. I mean, this obviously can be fixed with modifying the resources I apply towards the VM when I spin it up and start it. But yeah, we'll do that later. All right, so now we have the RegShot finished. Let's go and take a look at the output here, just to show you exactly what Ollama changed to see if anything malicious stands out. What we can see is that quite a few of these things called keys deleted, and some of this stuff is super technical for those who are not interested in cybersecurity stuff or forensics. But the big thing here is I look for is once I go down to the bottom and see what was added, total changes, I'm really looking for this. I do a search and find, I do a backslash and run, / and run, and I am looking for anything added into the run folder. So I'll do a second one, and there is no found entry for that. So the run folder is associated with auto start or malicious activity that's happened where it wants to kick off every time you restart your machine. So I don't see it there, so not really too much to worry about here. Ultimately, I'm doing this to show you that it is totally separate. The file structure in the virtual machine is not affecting the actual file structure on my host machine, and this is going to prove that. So this is proof. All right, let's go ahead and save it. And now we've done that. We're now going to go, let's close this out. Let's go to the desktop. And I'm not worried about fixing it. I'm about to destroy this entire machine. All right, so let's open up this. Now, to show you where I get this from, please understand this is only for educational purposes. Please, please, and it does say this on the GitHub repository, do not do anything mischievous with this. GitHub enders match malware database, and I just downloaded this package from here in the zip file, and that's what I'm extracting now. So let's go ahead and extract. You can find pretty much anything on GitHub sometimes. So if you can't find on GitHub, Pastebin, a lot of options out there to find stuff. Just be responsible. That's all I ask. All right, so now we have that. I'm opening up ransomware, and I am going to do WannaCryptor. This is the one I'm pretty sure works. So let's go and extract all. Extract. Password is, my subs are the best. All right. Now we've done that, we're going to run it. Let's see what happens. There we go. A lot of files were added. And if I go over to my documents, I now have this WannaCry kind of thing here. I open up test, and when you know it, it is all encrypted. Go to my desktop. Okay. Nothing's happened. That is good. Let's go and restart my machine. Let's see if restarting helps at all. All right. And I just totally forgot to run RegShot, but honestly, was not expecting that. Look at that. Okay. So there you have it. This is definitely now an infected Windows box, and even gave some more stuff. No, I don't want to allow anything to change anything. I'm hitting no. It's already changed enough. Let me pull up my folders and go to my documents, to my home folder, and there you go. Nothing to worry about on mine. Nothing's really changed in my documents folder. My text file still works. I'm happy. There you go. And I'm happy with the results here. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate it. One last thing is I do need to show you what a container looks like. So let me go ahead and close out of the virtual machine, because that is now ruined. I don't need that anymore. And for the container, I found this to be helpful. Another GitHub page. I apologize for trying to find it. All right, so another GitHub is going to be GitHub and then .core Windows. All right, so this is going to be Windows running in the Docker container, which is very, very rare to see. I didn't even know it was possible until I ran into this one. And I think it was a YouTuber that put me onto it. But yeah, there you have it. You have all these options. Windows 11, always a server 2003. And I am going to actually run this for you now. You see it has Windows 10 in here. I found Windows 11 does glitch a little bit, so I don't really run that one from this setup. But now that I have that, let's do Docker. And I do prefer Docker Compose to make this work. -D. And let the magic happen by going over to 127.806. And there you have it. It's going to go through the loading process, and when it finishes, what I'll show you is going to be a fully fledged, fully working Windows 10 in my browser, but it's actually on a container, totally separate from my host machine again. Well, if you enjoyed this, please leave a comment, subscribe if you like to, and hey, I look forward to any questions you may have. Until then, enjoy your journey, and best of luck to you. Bye.